Before we get into today's video, I did want to let you guys know that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all have been having a wonderful week. I hope everybody's doing great. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the sentencing of Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. Now, I am sitting on my back porch. It is pretty windy out here, and the chickens and the roosters are outside enjoying this beautiful day. And it seems like a lot of the times when I come outside and start talking, there's this one rooster that comes out and starts crowing. So if y'all hear him, y'all know what he's doing. He's standing right there probably hoping that I'll come throw some greens or something over the little pin thingy at him. And my father-in-law is out here on the tractor. So there's definitely some background noise. But yeah, so a lot of you guys have been requesting that I speak on the sentencing, and I didn't think I was going to do it, but guess what? Here I am, me and my big mouth, and I do have a lot to say. But before we get into it, though, I did want to let you guys know, if you don't already know, I do have a second channel. It is Casually Christina. Do things way more casually over there, and I have videos getting ready to go up next week. So if you guys have been wanting Casually Christina videos, house updates, all of that stuff, they're locked in, ready to go, and they're going to be going up next week. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon is for 18 and up. And over there, we talk about more personal stuff. We go live over there. And there is a $2 tier where all the true crime stuff that cannot go onto YouTube due to their terms and policies, that is over on my Patreon. If you want to join my Patreon, make sure you read the About section and what each tier offers before you join. I also am on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, and on Like to Know It. And on Like to Know It is where you can find links to the stuff that I use, like hair, this dress that I'm wearing, necklaces, stuff like that. That's all linked to my Like to Know It. And all of those are linked down in the description box if you would like to come and check me out. I'm not going to go into who Ruby Franke is and Jodi Hildebrandt. Pretty much everybody knows, I feel like, if you're watching this video. If not, I do have another video, and it is all over the internet. When the two women were arrested, I said in my other video, in more or less words, that it was only a matter of time before these two women start rolling on each other. Meaning, once these two, and I'm just going to say it to you like it is, get into a jail, honey, where they are searched, bend over and cough and put this lice treatment in your hair, they was going to be ready to talk to somebody. And that's exactly what happened, because before you know it, they were arrested, by the way, in August of last year, 2023. And before you know it, it started being released in the media that there were talks of deals, which means they were going to be exchanging information for a deal. Then it came out that they both were going to be pleading guilty. By the way, everything that I talk about is all very public information. It is all already out there, and I'm just going to be filtering it through my own words and giving you guys my own unprofessional opinion. When I heard that both of them were going to plead guilty, I thought, I bet you I know what happened. I bet you both of them started speaking and they were pointing the finger at each other. And then on top of it, the police had so much evidence against them. And then Franke's older children, we know that her oldest daughter went down and gave some sort of conversation because she posted on her Instagram, or it was posted that she was leaving the court. And she posted when her mom got arrested and said, finally, okay? So we knew people were talking. We talked about this in my other video as well, that Jodi Hildebrandt's niece came out and gave lots of insight on to what type of person that she was. So with all of the evidence and all of these people combined, the two of them, in my personal opinion, threw themselves at the mercy of the court. I see a lot of things online where people are like, they did the right thing, they pled guilty. I feel like they did that because they literally had no other option. They would have gotten the max sentence if they would have taken it all the way to trial, because both of them were pointing the finger at each other. There's tons of evidence, including the little ones who were found in the way that they were found, and then all the other people that weren't involved, including the neighbors who had said that they saw the kids out running around in the yard and doing things outside and asking for food for days at a time while they were left at home alone. So both of them, in my opinion, threw themselves at the mercy of the court. And it was said in sentencing that Ruby Franke took a plea deal in order to testify against Jodi. Now, in this plea deal was that the 4 counts that they ended up being charged with, that they would have to be run consecutive, okay? That means back to back. So if they got 4 charges they get 1 year on each charge, they have to do at least 4 years because each charge runs back to back. If they got them run concurrent, then they could have 4 charges with 1 year and get out in 1 year. See what I'm saying? So that was part of the deal. The defense's opening statement after the prosecution went up, spoke their piece, talked about the deal, that they made with Ruby, the defense goes up. And their plan was very strategic, in my opinion. The defense got up there and said that originally when Ruby was arrested, that she was very defensive, that she was still protecting her brainwashing.
In the very early days of my involvement with Ruby, she was somewhat defensive, and she was still very much indoctrinated into a philosophy that was destructive. Fortunately, Ruby came to the stark realization of the errors in her thinking patterns and subsequent actions. To say that she was horrified by this realization would be to put it mildly. I have marveled at how quickly Ruby abandoned her defensive stance and moved toward her total acceptance of her actions and to her sentence today.
Mind you, she got arrested again in August of last year. So September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months. He said that she has abandoned her old belief and she's had a realization.
I have marveled at how quickly Ruby abandoned her defensive stance and moved toward her total acceptance of her actions and to her sentence today.
Now, I find that pretty miraculous, incredible, and I mean just groundbreaking if you ask me, because you mean to tell me for years this woman could look in her little one's eyes while they cried, while they begged, while they had wounds on them, while they were in restraint. You know all the ways that they were found, okay? In a basement. She was 4 hours away when she got arrested and they were locked in a basement. She could do that for years. She could see that, all of that. And all it took was for her to have a couple months in jail for her to just snap out of it.
Now I am very aware of people online who hate me, who would like to cancel me, who would like to see me either burn in hell, as I have been told, or disappear off the face of the earth. And I'm not going anywhere.
After he talked in her defense, which is what he's paid to do, this is when Ruby got up to give her statement. I'm going to play some bits and pieces, and we're going to talk about my opinion on it.
Judge Walt.
You don't have to bend down.
Okay, thank you. I would like to make a statement without any intent to change my stipulated sentence. For the past 4 years, I've chosen to follow counsel and guidance that has led me into a dark delusion. My distorted version of reality went largely unchecked, as I would isolate from anyone who challenged me. I was led to believe that this world was an evil place, filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect, and children who need abused. My choice to believe and behave this paranoia culminated into criminal activity for which I stand before you today ready to take accountability. Jodi Hildebrandt was never my business partner, nor was I ever employed by her I have never received wages from her or connections. Jodi was employed as my son's counselor in 2019, and in 2020 I paid her to be my mentor. It is important to me to demonstrate my remorse and regret without blame. I take full accountability for my choices, and it is my preference that I serve a prison sentence. Thank you to the officers in Santa Clara and the Ivan City Police, Nick Hellman, Brian Palufo, Cy Pikuvit, Mike Pondoyo in Tobler, John Ward, D. Lewis, and Chief Flowers. You were the angels who came and saved my children. I especially want to thank Detective Jay Bate. She plucked me out of a situation I didn't know how to get out of. And the moment she handcuffed me was the moment I gained my freedom. You were not the controlling ones. I was. Thank you to the medical staff at Intermountain Hospital. Your skill, tenderness, and professionalism helped to heal my children. Jodi and I inflicted the injuries, not the hospital. Thank you to DCFS, the Children's Justice Center, Judge Basil, and other key adults. You've gathered my children under your wing and offered them love, compassion, encouragement. You were not the ones who were doing the brainwashing. Thank you to my Bishop Tom Hawks and my state president Jim Nilsson for reminding me of the Lord's love for the lost. So much pain and suffering would have been avoided had I followed and heeded your counsel. I was the one who was deceived, not you. Thank you to the Washington County Prosecutor's Office, Ryan Sham, the legal assistants and discovery clerks. Eric Clark, you exemplified to me how justice and mercy are meant to coexist. My charges are just. They offer safety to my family, accountability to the public, and they did show mercy to me. Thank you to my attorney Lamar Winward and his staff. I would not be where I am today without them. Thank you to Randy Kester for your limitless energy in healing my family. To my babies, my 6 little chicks, you were part of me. I was the mama duck who was consistently watering you to safety. I can see now, over the past 4 years, I was in a deep undercurrent that led us to danger. I never led you to darkness knowingly. I was so disoriented that I believed dark was light and light was wrong. I would do anything in this world for you. My willingness to sacrifice all for you was masterfully manipulated into something very ugly. I took from you all that was soft and safe and good. I took from you your mother. How terrifying this must have been for you. I'll never stop crying for hurting your tender souls. You are each so precious to me. I'm sorry. And Judge Walton, I know that standing before you today is a necessary step towards that end. Thank you to you and your staff for facilitating my opportunity to take accountability and to answer for my charges. I am humbled and willing to serve a prison sentence as long as it takes to continue unraveling all of the misinformation I have believed and bought, swallowed, and acted out, and for my family to heal and for the community to heal. And I understand this is going to take time. I'm committed to continuing my learning until all of my toxic layers are shed, and I am ready to re-enter as a contributing member of our beautiful society. Thank you, Judge Walton.
I'm going to tell you guys that scares me. And listen, When a person says all the right things, she touched on everything in her speech. She even went as far as to thanking the police officer that put her in handcuffs. She says in that speech that the day that she was arrested was the day that she was set free. Hallelujah. Which in some aspects may be true, but you came to all of this realization in just a couple months? But you didn't come to that realization when your kid was emaciated, starving, crying, hungry, or bleeding, bandages, left home for 4 days at a time. But now all of a sudden, boy, everybody, to me, what I heard in that was a master manipulator. Now, that does not mean that she has not changed. Maybe she has, I don't know. But man, she knows how to say all the right things. She touched on everything and everybody. Even went as far as to address her children as her little ducklings, which, man, pull on the heartstrings of your kids. I'm sorry, you guys, I know this is going to be unpopular, but that's very weird to me. When you read just what has already been released, that she admitted in her plea deal that she did to them, including mind you, let's not forget that this speech came from a woman who was literally online, streaming online next to Jodi Hildebrandt, giving parenting advice to desperate mothers and fathers, I think it was mostly mothers, that are paying them because they are desperate to be a good mom for their children, and they're streaming live. And while Jodi and Ruby are sitting there streaming this, they have two children locked in a room beneath them. And nobody knew. That they could literally sit there and smile and take people's money and do that. And this was her speech. She's all of a sudden, man, she just had an awakening. Thank you to the officers that arrested me. Thank you to the judge. Thank you to everybody. Because she was so manipulated and brainwashed, and now I can see past what was done to me. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think Jodi had her part in it, because I think we already know what she's like from all of the different people that she's worked with and families that she has allegedly destroyed.
Do you guys want to know who Jodi Hildebrandt is? Here, I'll answer your questions. He's her attorney. He can't answer them. My name's Adam Paul Steed. I want you to know the same court that has ordered us not to share these documents is covering up this racket that Jodi Hildebrandt had with the Mormon Church. I'm the guy that got Jodi's license from Doppel removed. The Doppel department said, we have evidence here for criminal charges against Jodi. This is 13 years ago. It's identical stuff. So I almost fell over in the courtroom when I heard Jodi say that she loved those children. Jodi doesn't love children. Jodi's like Ted Bundy. He said that my act to turn Jodi Hildebrandt in was an act of vengeance, and they took my kids away from me. This court was sitting there completely in bed with Jodi. Pain and suffering, when you talk about something and she finds a way to hurt you, it makes her blush. It makes her feel euphoric. I've seen her act that way and look that way.
Okay, she is a monster in her own way. But I don't know, that very long, hitting every word, every perfect, thing to say, it just seemed very manipulative and calculated. That's my opinion. Something else that I found very funny about what she said is in there when she was thanking everybody and talking about how all these people tried to help her, but she was just too brainwashed. She talked about her parents, how she pushed her parents and treated her parents bad, who tried to, hey, Ruby, what you're doing with your family is, it's not right. So she pushed them away. The neighbors, her older children, her church, her friends. So you mean to tell me that Ruby, we're just talking about Ruby right now, Ruby had all these people that loved her, that were trying to help her. And she's saying she was manipulated by one woman who she says she wasn't even romantically involved with, but she gets put in jail and immediately has an epiphany when she has just for the past couple years been watching her children more or less beg for food and for their lives. And so I'm sorry. It don't sit right with me. Then she says to her children,
I never stop crying for hurting your tender souls. You're so precious to me. I'm sorry.
it felt like so much love bombing. It felt manipulative. Your tender souls, she admitted in the plea deal to holding her son's head underwater, to putting her hand over his mouth and nose at the same time so he couldn't breathe, to all kinds of stuff. And now all of a sudden, she's had an epiphany. That quick, nothing else helped her. And she cries for her children's tender souls. I don't know, y'all. It don't sit right with me. It just don't sit right with me. I hope she's changed. I hope she's had a miraculous change very quickly. But seems weird. Now, Jodi got her sentencing too. She handled it a different way. She said very little. It was kind of more or less said in her situation from her defense attorney that things basically, the way that I understood what they were saying without saying, because they said very little, was it kind of sounded like Jodi was saying, Ruby is putting way too much on me. I didn't really do all this, But she probably could never really come out and say that because there's just too many witnesses. I mean, Jodi has such a track record with people, with literally destroying people's marriages and families. No way in the world she could have victimized herself. But I think there's a little bit of truth in what she said, but I think there's a whole bunch of lies in what both of them said. There's a little bit of truth from both of them, but way more lies. In this case, I think it ended up being two people that had underlying evil, demonic issues, mental health issues. I don't know what it was, okay? And when they linked together, they sparked. And again, to think that these two women were literally sitting on this couch, you know, giving parenting advice to other desperate moms while they had that going on just below their feet in the basement. Disturbing. Now, Ruby's parents and brother said that she used to be a wonderful mother. And, you know, I have seen some clips of things that she has said that I have, you know, kind of been like, well, that makes sense. I understand that. Or maybe that kind of was taken out of context. But the stuff that was in the plea deal, and that ain't even everything. Again, the prosecution said that after the 30 days is up, that's when way more stuff is going to come out. They even said including pictures and all kinds of stuff, so you can only imagine. But maybe she was a good mom, or maybe when she was around them, she was a good mom. Only Ruby's children really know what all went on behind the scenes in that house. And I don't know. I hope she was. They seem like good kids. And mind you, even with all of this stuff that Ruby is saying now, let us not forget when she was arrested, she literally tried to throw her 12-year-old, the one that was found, went to the neighbor's house begging for food. And when the neighbor saw the 12-year-old, he called 911 and he started to cry, explaining to the 911 officer what he was seeing. And the 12-year-old was trying to tell the guy, like, no, I'm bad. No, I don't want them to get in trouble. And it actually took, from what I'm understanding, the police and the investigators, because the two little ones that were found ended up being admitted into the hospital for a while. I mean, they were so malnourished. And it took investigators a while to really get these little ones to talk because they believed that they were the ones that were wrong. They believed that it was their fault that they were in this situation. And Ruby originally put it out there that her 12-year-old did unspeakable things to the neighbors and all that. Y'all remember? But now all of a sudden, this quickly, she's had this complete, I don't know, maybe she has, y'all. Maybe she has. But I don't know. My spidey senses is going, I don't know, man. You could sit on that couch and give all this advice to these other moms and not even bat an eye like anything was wrong beneath your feet. there's a chance that that tactic is still being used today, and their sentence. So interestingly enough, even though both of their like speeches or pleads to the judge were completely different, Ruby said a ton and Jodi said very little. They both got the same exact sentence. They both got 1 year to 15 years on each charge. So at the least, they'll do 4 years. So in 4 years, both of them will be eligible for parole. So literally in 4 years, both of them could be out. And if, you know, there's a good chance that they will be out probably in 4 years, both of them. And then I started thinking about the 2 women in prison, and it reminded me, and I talked about this years ago on my channel when I used to tell like prison stories and stuff. It reminded me of a woman that I was in prison with. So you guys know, whenever I was 21 years old, I got sentenced to 3 years in prison in Florida. I was a complete hoodlum, disrespectful, all that. The videos are on my channel. If you guys don't know, you guys can go and watch. There was a woman there on the same compound. I think she was even in my dorm for quite a while too. I'm not going to say her name, but she was an older lady. She was probably in her 60s then. And her husband had a bunch of foster kids, and they ended up getting arrested because they were doing all kind of crazy stuff, including pulling their toenails off with pliers, okay? And this woman was very much in the church. She was in the church all day long. And she stayed to herself, and she was quiet, she was nice, and she didn't cause a single wave, buddy. I mean, you could have probably shoulder checked her every day, and she would have apologized to you. She didn't cause a single wave. And I can just see these 2 women going in there and doing that, doing their time, walking straight edge while they're in there and getting out in 4 years. And maybe they will. And listen, it's not for me to decide how long they should get or not. I wasn't in the home. I don't know. What do y'all think? Did y'all think that the speech was good and heartfelt and Ruby is just this victim? I'm going to be honest. When it comes to, I don't have a lot in my heart of wiggle room for excuses when you do that, when you hurt, take advantage. I don't have a lot of, oh, okay, I understand. There is not a person in this world that could make me do that to my little ones or yours or anybody's. Nobody. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I hope the kids are okay. I hope they feel loved. I hope they heal. Kids are kids. They're going to cut up. They're going to do things. They're going to be imperfect. That's how they learn. But I hope they're doing good. What do you guys think? You think they'll get out in 4 years? You think they're going to get out in 10? What do you think? Let me know what you think down below. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all Friday for our video. Love you guys. Bye.